I return home to my quiet, cramped apartment after work. The place is eerily silent, a stark contrast to the bustling office where I spend my days. Throwing my handbag onto the tiny coffee table, I pick up my laptop and sit on the couch. I lie back and get comfortable, letting the laptop rest on my stomach as it boots up. The welcome screen loads up, so I click a couple of times, open my website browser, and then head to a very specific website saved in my favorites. Corpse Girl's website. A cute dancing zombie girl is animated at the top of the page, a peculiar irregularity that always makes me giggle. I notice that the page view counter at the bottom of the site is nearly the same as it was yesterday. There have been maybe 4 or 5 new visitors. I heave a sigh. Maybe the website isn't quite that well known after all. That begs the question, how did Tomoe discover it? Well, never mind that. My eyes scan the website content. Request to death. Big bold letter headline. Big bold letter. Request to death. Big bold letters headline the site. The intention couldn't be clearer. Further information on the site is sparse. Brief instructions tell the user to fill in a victim's phone number and upload a photo. Aside from that, there's not much else to mention. It doesn't even ask for a name. After scanning the website, I move my mouse to the browser's address bar and click. I type a / after the website's address and then add the word admin. I hit the enter key. A login page presents itself with empty username and password field waiting to be filled in. My fingers tap dance around the keyboard, and with moments I'm presented with a brand new page. Ooh. So she owns it. A blinking slab of text greets me. One new request. A crooked smile cracks my stony expression. Finally, somebody has requested a death. Somebody has asked me, Corpse Girl, to kill a victim. This is where things get exciting. I giggle and feel my cheeks flush red. This is the first request I've had for about a week. I've been logging in every evening, fingers crossed that somebody has elected a new victim for me. Today my wish has come true. I can't help but feel emotional at the time like this. My lower lip trembles and I feel tears welling up. I dab the corners of my eye gently to avoid smudging my makeup. As I hover my mouse cursor over the view request button, a familiar and pleasant tingling sensation surges in my chest, my stomach, my thighs. I shiver with anticipation, my hot and steamy breath beginning to fog up the laptop screen. Girl, calm your tits. Hakuna your tatas, we got this. I click the button. Request details. Today, 2:47 p.m. local time. Victim's phone number. Downloading image attachment. The victim's photo automatically loads on my screen. The person in front of me is a total stranger, but that's okay. It doesn't change the task set out before me. A woman, rather plain in her early 30s. She's well dressed with minimal makeup, and she's not really putting her personality on display. It's a nice photo, better quality than some of the images I've received in the past. In fact, the photo looks like a corporate ID picture. I wonder if it was downloaded from a company database or website. Well, the source of the photo doesn't matter. The simple fact of the matter is that somebody has made a request for this person to die. It falls to me to fulfill that request, and as Corpse Girl, I take requests very, very seriously. I have the victim's photo. I have her phone number. All I need is to select a way for her to meet me. All I need now is to select a way for her to meet her untimely demise. I previously thought about including an extra field on my website, an option for the user to choose the way they want their victim to die. After all, it would reduce the amount of strain on my creativity if the method was decided for me. But after careful consideration, I decided against it. Some people are sick, twisted. The cause of death could be far beyond my means and impossible to achieve. Therefore, allowing the user to define the cause of death just isn't feasible. Instead, I'll stick to my current modus operandi. Everything depends on the quality of the victim's photo. If it's detailed and the victim's features are easily distinguishable, then I can be rather creative with the cause of death. Perhaps the victim's face suffers grotesque burns, or she has an iron stake thrust through her skull. However, if the victim's photo is low quality and doesn't provide enough detail to identify the subject, I have to resort to the default cause of death, a terrible unlucky fall from a great height. Maybe she slips, or maybe someone stumbles into her and sends her tumbling over a rail. The end result will be the same, the swift, crushing death from a height. The victim will end up face down on the concrete, completely unrecognizable, save for her clothes and accessories. It's not my favorite cause of death, but in some cases it is necessary. Regardless, it is still a valid way to fulfill the request. For now, it's time to get started. I can barely contain my excitement. I squirm against the couch, crossing and uncrossing my legs in a vain attempt to dissipate the heat rising through my body. Really, girl, calm down. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm my nerves and get to work. The victim will receive a photo of her own corpse timestamped with the date of her death. It's Corpse Girl's signature move, my calling card, if you will. Seeing an image of one's own disfigured corpse is sure to strike fear into one's heart. That's precisely the reason I take this step, to make the victim panic and act rashly. Oops, I dropped my controller again. First things first, I save the victim's photo to my laptop hard drive. I store it in a folder discreetly named System Files, hidden away in the root directory of my operating system, a password-encrypted directory, of course. Next, I open up my favorite image editing software and load the photo. Looking carefully at the details in the picture, I can see this will be a work of art. I can really go to town with this request. I minimize the software, open my web browser, and access the particular website. The database of the deceased, the DD as it's known on the dark web, my secret weapon, the ultimate resource for my work. The DD is a collection of countless high-resolution photographs of dead bodies. Murder victims, crime scenes, suicides. If somebody has died in one way or another, chances are good that some perverted individual has captured the moment in all its glory. Gory glory. Such valuable images are essential to my work. Using these photos as a base, I can edit my victim's details into the picture. My process is simple. I start by locating the perfect corpse photo. I search the database, and in less than 2 minutes, I discover a disgustingly detailed photo of a woman with her entrails spilling from her stomach. I want to see it. Her face is blue, having suffocated before even having a chance to bleed to death. She's absolutely the same age as my victim. She's a similar height and build. Finding a photo that specifically suits my victim's features is easy thanks to DD's excellent catalog of tags and filters. I simply search for keywords that match my victim's description and find a corpse that fits. Using this photo as a starting point, I digitally edit my victim's face onto the body. It's not some quick job that even a child can do. It's a painstakingly crafted work of art that would fool even the keenest eye. An hour passes, then 2, then 3. Before I know it, midnight has come and gone, where the work is nearing completion. All that remains is to add the final touches. I like to add a specific distinguishable detail to the image. A personal item or accessory, clothing, makeup, you name it. I can edit it with personal details added, I adjust the lighting and color palette just slightly, enough to make the photo truly unique. If the victim decides to reverse image search the photo and discovers that it's a forgery, all my work would be for naught. And with that, the masterpiece is complete. A grisly, gruesome, gratuitous... My brain's like having a moment going, well, how did you do that? Okay, I don't care. Gratuitously gory gift from the soon-to-be departed. The victim will receive this photo of a corpse that is, for all intent and purposes, a perfect replica of their own physical form. She'll open the image on her phone, and the life she once knew will crumble to pieces. My lips curl into a satisfied smirk. During my hours of work, my breathing eventually steadied, my exciting nerves settled into a zen-like calm. But, seeing the finished art piece now, I begin to feel my heart pounding once more. The macabre vision before me is exhilarating. Adrenaline and dopamine surge throughout my body, giving me a sudden head rush of bliss. To say that I'm attracted to the sight of blood and guts would be misleading. No, I'm not into that at all. The excitement stems from the thought of taking control of somebody else's life, dictating their future, controlling their fate. For with the creation of this image, I have taken the victim's life into my hands, like a puppet master pulling the strings of a marionette. By forging this convincing creation, I will compel the victim to take her own life. That's right, my own hand need not become stained. The hands of Corpse Girl have never been dirtied with the blood of a victim. This is the true nature of my work. Carefully crafted corpse photos in such a way to convince the victim that their fate is already sealed, that no matter what they do, they cannot escape the death that awaits them. And the date stamped on the photo is the icing on the cake, the ultimate driving force behind the victim choosing to end their own life. A date so near in the future, a time that has not yet occurred, a fiber of uncertainty carefully interwoven into the image that causes the victim to pause and consider the possibilities. Is this photo from the future? Is this truly my fate? How can I outrun a future that has been pre-decided? These are the thoughts that run through the victim's mind. Despair and dread flood the senses. Overwhelming anxiety gives way to a calm acceptance. This is my dead body. This is how I die. Why should I fight it? And when the victim's last vestige of resistance gently breaks like a silk spiderweb being torn by a cool breeze, they finally give in. They invite their end. This is the way I will go down for this woman, this complete and total stranger. I'm confident, certain, convinced. It was a sudden spark of inspiration that guided me to begin fabricating corpse photos about a year ago. I can never quite recall exactly what it was that spawned the idea. Sometimes I get close to remembering, but the recollection dances on the edge of my mind and slips back into the darkness. Regardless, I ventured down a dark and dangerous path. I built Corpse Girl's website and invite strangers to request the death of people they knew. It was a sales tactic, simply a way to encourage users to submit images. I had no intention or means of ending lives. Little did I know of the true power I wielded. I only intended to create corpse photos and send them to people for fun. I wanted to startle and scare some I wonder if this is a website. I wanted to startle and scare some unsuspecting fools. It would be a lie to claim I didn't get off on it. Like, is this a website that the company that made the game, like, also bought and play with? That'd be fun. The thought of people shrieking in fear at the sight of their own corpse was more than delicious. It satiated my budding lust. It filled a dark hole in the depths of my soul and gave me purpose. Hello, Rocky. Never in a million years did I dream that one of my corpse photos would result in the death of another human being. What you doing, buddy? Oh, yeah. I'll never forget her name, Ruri Hatano. 20-something, slim, gorgeous, eyes that took my breath away the moment I gazed upon her portrait. She was the first person to make me feel bad about crafting hoax photos, the only person to make me feel bad about it. But I did it anyway. Corpse Girl never rejects her requests. It's my conviction. I forged a beautiful rendition of her death. Thanks to some rather macabre source photos obtained by the database of the deceased, I strung Ruri's corpse up in a field like a ghoulish scarecrow. The photo was incredible. It was my 5th or 6th worth, the 5th or 6th time a user of Corpse Girl's website requested a death. Ruri Hatano died just hours after receiving the photo. I don't know why. I don't know if she killed herself or if someone murdered her. But I know one thing. Ruri Hatano's body, her real body, was found in the fields hanging like a scarecrow surrounded by crows. Her eyes had been gouged out of her skull and her stiff fingers clutched her phone tightly. According to the news report, her phone displayed a familiar image, the very image I created of her corpse. When I first learned of Ruri's death, I was overcome with varying emotions. I felt sick, elated, disgusted, overjoyed, depressed, aroused. Girl, really, calm down. Had I somehow caused her death, was Corpse Girl responsible for taking a life? Even though my hands weren't stained with blood, I still felt responsible. A lurid truth descending upon me at that moment. Corpse Girl held the power to end lives, and the more I dwelled in that fact, the more obvious it became to me. I began to feel the power pulsing through my veins, thrumming in my blood as my heart pumped and pounded within my chest. I can't explain how the power works, and I don't know why I have it, but somehow the corpse photo I create can compel a victim to end their own life, or compel someone else to end it for them. Ruri died in the way that I envisioned. Her dead body matched the fake corpse photo I painstakingly crafted, and I didn't even have to leave the safety and comfort of my apartment to ensure her death. Corpse Girl's power is real, extraordinary, and I vowed to exercise that power and as frequently as possible. Ruri Hatano died last year. Since then, I've been chasing that rush, that thrill that comes with snuffing out a soul. It wasn't hard to grow the popularity of Corpse Girl website after that incident. Particularly dark corners of the internet gobbled up the news with enthusiasm, and the site saw an influx of new visitors. And, on a few occasions, I even overheard people in the real world whispering about the mysterious website that lets you request a death. My nose is itching. That would be fun, yeah. I've crafted corpse photos for dozens of requests. Each photo is more convincing and realistic than the last thanks to my ever-evolving skills. But none of my recent attempts have been successful. Not a single person has dropped dead since Ruri Hatano. I'm beginning to wonder if Corpse Girl's power has fizzled out. Or perhaps I never had any powers to begin with. Maybe Ruri's death was simply a fluke. A morbid coincidence. I spent countless hours doubting myself, doubting Corpse Girl. I've tried so hard to replicate that one success. Every time I receive a request, I do the same thing as I did in Ruri Hatano's case. I edit the photo of the victim. I create a convincing corpse photo, and I timestamp it with the time of death. I send the photo to the victim, and then I leave the rest up to fate. But nothing ever comes of it. Excuse me. I'm not so delusional to think that, in normal circumstances, a simple photo would be enough to convince someone to kill themselves. And even if that photo fell into someone else's hands, it wouldn't inspire them to go out and kill the victim. Of course not. However, these are no ordinary circumstances. I once activated a power beyond the ken of mortal men. I caused Ruri Hatano to die by her own hand or by the hand of another. I need to find a way to manifest my power once more, to prove that I, Corpse Girl, have the power of death and destruction at my fingertips. Once a new victim perishes, I know I will pave the way to more and more deaths. My website will gain popularity and become more than just an urban myth. People will live their lives in fear, forever wondering if Corpse Girl is lurking behind the next text message they receive. Yes, I can see the future I crave so clearly in my mind. I'm close to achieving my goal. I know I am. And when my dreams come true, I can finally